How did Jey Uso go from being one of WWE's most popular wrestlers to one of the most controversial names in the main event scene? The reasons are complex, and it's not as simple as Jey being over-pushed or overexposed. It's an amalgamation of factors that turned Jey from hero to villain in the eyes of the internet wrestling community. Join us as WrestleMania looks at where it all went wrong, the Jey Uso problem. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Main Event Jey Uso. Back in 2020, WWE needed an established name to feud with Roman Reigns. Reigns had just begun his epic heel run, and WWE decided to pair him with Jey Uso. This was a major risk, as Jey wasn't known as a singles star. WWE's reasoning rested largely on their family ties. Jey played the babyface in the feud, and to say he over-delivered would be an understatement. He had several premium live event encounters with his cousin, each of them outstanding. Jey didn't just excel in the ring, his storytelling was exceptional. In just 2 months, he transformed from a tag team wrestler into one of the most grounded, likable, and emotionally driven characters in the company. His work was so strong that fans began calling for him to win a world title, and those calls were completely justified. But surprisingly, WWE didn't continue Jey on a singles babyface trajectory. Instead, he quickly rejoined Reigns and resumed working tag team matches with his brother Jimmy. It was a confusing decision, though the subsequent Bloodline storyline gave Jey another opportunity to expand his character. His work within the Bloodline received critical acclaim. Jey became a standout character who was both humorous and deeply layered. It was easy to see why he was a central figure during this beloved era. Singles career resurgence. In 2023, WWE decided once again to revisit Jey Uso as a singles star. He picked up a huge win in a tag match at Money in the Bank 2023, becoming the first man in years to pin Roman Reigns. This opened the door for Jey to challenge Reigns for the WWE World title in the main event of SummerSlam. Unfortunately, the match failed to meet expectations. The tribal rules stipulation was a confusing mess, and it felt as if Reigns and Jey had lost all the chemistry they had 3 years earlier. The finish, which saw Jimmy turn on his brother, was one of the most baffling decisions of the Triple H era. Nobody was asking for the Usos to split, and Jimmy siding with Reigns made absolutely no sense. WWE continued presenting Jey as a solo act, though this briefly paused so he could team with Cody Rhodes. The short-lived duo was incredibly successful, producing fantastic matches and showcasing their real-life friendship and bond. WWE eventually revisited the feud between Jey and Jimmy, but in a strange move, they kept them apart for so long that by the time the rivalry resumed, nobody cared. WWE put minimal effort into building their WrestleMania 40 match, and the bout itself was labeled one of the worst in WrestleMania history. It was flat, boring, and wrestled as if neither man wanted to be there. They spammed super kicks for 10 minutes, the crowd was confused, and the match would have felt out of place on Raw or SmackDown, let alone WWE's biggest show of the year. Both men were critical of the match afterward, and reports even suggested that their time was cut, which may explain why it felt so poorly structured. But frankly, the match should have never happened. Fans didn't want to see it, and its poor quality damaged both talents, sparking doubts about whether either Uso could truly succeed as a singles star. Jey eventually rebounded by winning singles gold, becoming the Intercontinental Champion. This was great to see, and the crowd was solidly behind him. The YEET catchphrase was universally over, so much so that cameras often shook from fans chanting along. Jey became one of WWE's most interactive and captivating performers, leading to the YEET era. But this is also where the real problems began. At the start of 2025, Jey won the Royal Rumble. He wasn't a popular pick, especially since fans had just seen him challenge for the world title a week earlier, and his match with Gunther was incredibly disappointing. Reports suggested CM Punk was the original planned winner, which fans overwhelmingly supported, but WWE ultimately went with Main Event Jey. The backlash was substantial. The YouTube dislikes told the whole story, and live crowds openly questioned what WWE was thinking. Fans liked Jey as a personality, but they didn't want him headlining WrestleMania for the world title, particularly against an opponent he had zero chemistry with. The build to Jey vs Gunther at WrestleMania was uninspired. WWE essentially had Gunther act as the voice of the internet, repeatedly saying that Jey couldn't hang with top-tier talent. Rumors even circulated that Gunther wasn't happy about working with Jey again. This was the period when Jey's in-ring work was heavily scrutinized. Fans questioned whether he could realistically deliver main event-level performances on a consistent basis. Frequent botches became a talking point, to the point that WWE incorporated them directly into the storyline with Gunther, a clear sign that WWE was fully aware of the growing online criticism. When WrestleMania 41 finally arrived, the match itself was nothing special. As expected, Jey won, but he did so using a sleeper hold, a move that wasn't even his finisher. Gunther being choked out wasn't a great look for the ring general, and the finish only added to the confusion surrounding WWE's booking of Jey Uso. There was immediate concern that Jey wouldn't be able to deliver strong matches as champion, and WWE confirmed those fears by giving him a brief 51-day reign before he unceremoniously dropped the title back to Gunther on Raw. In the months since losing the title, Jey has been heavily overexposed, as he hasn't left the main event scene in any meaningful way. WWE has attempted to add depth to his character by showcasing inner turmoil, but this has only confused fans who support him, and it hasn't significantly affected his crowd reactions. When Seth Rollins went down with an injury, WWE held a battle royal to determine CM Punk's next challenger at Saturday night's main event. Jey Uso won, despite fans loudly pushing for LA Knight. The backlash was even worse than his Royal Rumble victory, and the YouTube upload of the match became one of WWE's most disliked videos ever. The reaction dominated wrestling discourse, making it clear that internet fans were sick of seeing Jey in the main event and wanted a change. Oddly enough, these negative reactions still didn't translate to live audiences, where Jey remained wildly popular. Critics argued that the YEET chant was over, but Jey himself wasn't. Whether that's true is debatable, but it's rare for such a stark divide to exist between online fans and arena crowds. Jey's match with CM Punk was considered a TV-quality bout at best, and one notable moment saw Jey botch a neckbreaker, frustrating Punk enough that he kicked Jey directly in the face. Jey received intense criticism, particularly for that botched spot. After Saturday night's main event, fans were urging WWE to end his main event push and reunite the Usos full-time. So, what's next for Jey Uso? Based on Raw, it appears WWE is continuing his main event push for now. Jey is set to join Team Punk in Survivor Series Wargames, with his inner turmoil likely serving as a central story beat. Will Jey turn heel and join the Vision? Expect more melodrama between Jey, Jimmy, and Roman Reigns in the weeks leading up to Survivor Series. Some fans believe WWE needs to move on from bloodline-related story arcs altogether, though it's understandable that they're trying to reignite some spark within Jey's character. Still, a heel turn makes little sense. Jey is extremely popular, sells a ton of merchandise, and there's no logical reason to turn him heel. What Jey needs is a reset, but not a character reset. He needs a break from the main event scene. Jey has competed in countless world title matches, and fans are exhausted seeing him in that spot. A full reunion with Jimmy is the smartest move, especially since Raw's tag division is struggling for top teams. Reuniting the Usos would instantly elevate the division, and a feud with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee would make for fantastic television. WWE can always revisit a Jey Uso main event push down the line, and taking a step back now won't hurt his popularity. If anything, it will refresh him. Fans who are tired of his constant main event presence would get a break, and when Jey eventually returns to world title contention, the moment would feel more meaningful and exciting. At the end of the day, fans naturally get tired of seeing the same wrestlers in the main event over and over. For Jey, it's been a mix of questionable booking and disappointing matches that has derailed his run. There's no doubt that Jey is still an incredible talent, and WWE is fortunate to have him. But if they continue presenting him this way, it wouldn't be surprising to see fans who once cheered him begin to resent him, and that's something WWE should avoid at all costs. What do you think? Is this the right direction for Jey Uso? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time with more wrestling content.